It may seem like I have a big ego, but it's not quite as big as you may think. I mean, I'm awesome, but I'm maybe not quite as awesome as I claim to be sometimes. There's this thing I say, I'm always right, even when I'm wrong, because when I am shown to be wrong, I change my opinion so that I become right. Now, you may see this as being kind of narcissistic, but I think it's a good thing because I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong and I'm willing to change my opinion so that I can be right. When I notice other people are wrong, I correct them, and I appreciate it when they correct me too, because it's better to be right than to be wrong. Can you disagree with that? Some people apparently do. I don't get it, not the point. I'm right. As it's better to be right than wrong, it's also good to strive to always be better. And this quest for betterment is kind of a sign of greatness in itself, you know? Because as I like to say, it is more important who you want to be than what you currently are. So if you want to be a person with a strong will and who is wise and inspires loyalty in friends and other people, then those aspects are kind of already in you in a way. Maybe small, but they're in there. And if you try, at least once in a while at the beginning, to act like the person that you want to be, eventually you'll get there. You know, the fake it till you make it. And the more that you fake it, the faster you'll get there. Because when you fake it, you need to maintain the aura of awesomeness that you're putting out there. You know, you need to make people think that it's real. And you need to continually fake it in order to make people believe you're not faking it. So it's kind of a cycle that eventually will turn you into the person that you want to be. Hopefully. I don't know. I'm not quite the person I want to be yet, but I'll let you know if I get there. So if I'm acting awesome, it's either because I'm trying to convince you that I'm awesome, just because I want to convince myself that I'm that awesome, or because I actually am that awesome. And if I do my acting right, which, you know, I'm pretty good at, then you won't know which of these categories I fall into. And probably the greatest defense that I have for why I act awesome and why I think you should probably act awesome too is because it's just so fun. I also have a certain stubbornness. I think the most common example is when I'm climbing something and someone will tell me not to, either out of concern for my safety or the safety of the thing that I'm climbing on. And generally, if I'm climbing something, I've tested the object that I'm climbing on beforehand, or I'm doing it as I go, like a tree. I'll test the branch before I put all my weight on it. And I trust myself enough not to screw up. Sometimes the object that I'm climbing will fail me. And sometimes I'm not quite good enough to climb the thing that I'm climbing. But usually I'll know ahead of time if I might not be good enough to climb it, and I'll be cautious enough that even if I can't do it, I'm not going to get myself hurt. Of course, that's just one example of me ignoring other people's advice in favor of my own judgments. I mean, I've been doing it since at least when I was being taught how to use a pencil, because they wanted me to hold it in the uncomfortable way, and I still hold it in a way that's comfortable to me, the same with forks and spoons and whatever. Most of the time, when people provide input for my actions, I've either already thought about it and decided that I'm still going to do what I'm doing, or they don't seem to understand the situation properly, and that's properly from my perspective. This arrogance may seem like a problem, but in most cases it's not, because I'm generally right, especially in the cases of my own safety. And I guess it's probably just because I'm awesome.
So we're here to talk about Tom's ego. So we were in downtown Lowell once, and we were rounding a corner. We were behind the main row of buildings. We were kind of like in the back lots. And there was a fence adjacent to a building that kind of created a sort of you know, there's an opportunity to scale the building provided by this fence. And Tom made a beeline straight for the fence, and I said, that's probably not a great idea. And instead of acknowledging what I said, he just proceeded to climb the fence and move towards the building. Now, as he was doing this, an officer happened to be going for a stroll. So yeah, he starts climbing this fence, and the officer doesn't notice him, and I'm still saying, Tom, you should probably stop, Tom. And then he slips, doesn't fall a terrible distance, maybe about 3 or 4 feet. He slips, and immediately catches the officer's attention. This guy was irritated, and he basically said, look, guys, I don't know what you're doing, but you can't do that. Can you just, I don't know if he asked us to leave, but you can't do that. And we're kind of like, now, I was about to walk away and just leave it at that. But, you know, Tom confronted the officer and basically said, like, yeah, if I get hurt, it's not really your responsibility to, you know. And he said, yeah, but I don't need you doing backflips and splitting your head open on the pavement. Whatever. I'm not going to talk about the officer. That's a whole different... The problem was that instead of acknowledging what I'd said, which is, Tom, hang on a sec, he just went straight for the fence. And so it was a matter of acknowledgement that my remark hadn't been acknowledged. That could demonstrate some facet of his ego that I wouldn't get into too much detail or depth about. As far as his arguing goes, he's pretty stubborn when it comes to defending his point, but many people are. People don't like to be proven wrong. That's my thoughts on Tom's ego.